How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and good news! It is finally October. October, the month of Halloween. It's my favorite month of the year, and for all October long, I'm going to be talking about Halloween movies. And I mean Halloween-specific movies, not just horror movies, because I cover horror movies all the time. But I'm talking about movies that take place in and around Halloween specifically. So, Halloween-specific horror movies. And if you guys watched my channel last year, I did a bunch of Halloween reviews, which if you do want to see those, at the end of the video, a playlist will pop up. But my finale for last year was John Carpenter's Halloween. And this year, I want to cover a bunch of the sequels. Starting off with part 2, I'm going to be going at least through part 6, cover the main run of sequels there. But that being said, I might do Halloween H2O, I might do the Rob Zombie movies, I don't know. If you guys really want to see those, leave comments, and if enough people want to watch them, I'll bump them higher up the list. But anyway, starting off with Halloween 2, the very first sequel. This is a pretty fun movie. From 1981, directed by Rick Rosenthal, and the creators of the original Halloween, John Carpenter and Debra return. Both of them have writer credits and producer credits. So even though John Carpenter isn't directing, the original creators are involved in it. They didn't just toss it off to Rick Rosenthal and go about their merry way, so that is really cool to see. Also, from the first movie, we once again have Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasence starring, so we got the original cast back as well. Nick Castle is no longer Michael Myers. We have Dick Warlock this time around, but he does a really good job and it feels like the same Michael Myers. But two big things to know about this movie. First and foremost, this is the movie where Halloween responds to the influence that it had in pop culture. Halloween 1978 was the spark that made the 80s slasher boom. And here we are 3 years later. That's not terribly much time, but at the same time a lot has happened, including Friday the 13th the year prior. And you can see the influence of the early slasher boom in Halloween 2. This movie has, I think, about twice as many kills, and also a lot more gore in this movie. And yeah, also some disposable teenage characters, but whatever. But it is cool to see more kills and more gore. This is Halloween responding to its children. It created a boom, and this is it looking back at the boom and going, okay, so we're doing this now. And it is an interesting thing, Now, it's not the grade A gold star classic that the first one was, but it still is a ton of fun and a great slasher movie. Just not, the first one. The first one, top 10 horror movies of all time. Good luck getting back there again. But hey, it's still pretty good, and probably the best sequel? I don't know, that's up for debate. Which one do you guys think is the best, other than the first movie? What's the best sequel? I'd be curious to know. But anyway, the other big thing with this movie is this is a direct continuation. We open up, it literally plays the last few minutes of the first Halloween movie, part 1, and then it just keeps going. So this literally continues directly. It's one of those movies that, you could probably cut the two together and just have a really big, long movie. Think the prequel to The Thing, think the Hatchet movies. It's stuff like that. And that is what a lot of people watch this for. If you want to watch Halloween, but Halloween's only about an hour and a half, but you want to spend a full 3 hours watching the big, long, epic Halloween experience, that's what a lot of people do with this movie. It is the classic double feature. It is one that people, use as an extension, and it is a pretty cool idea. But anyway, that is an interesting concept, We're gonna continue directly. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the movie's about. But we open up, like I said, with the last few minutes of the first Halloween movie, and then it keeps going. And we get to see Sam Loomis run off to the cops. He's not dead yet. I don't know where he is. We have to find him. And then we see Michael Myers in a back alley somewhere, watching from a distance. And you do get this first act is really fun. It's the aftermath chaos section where people don't know what's going on. They're just starting to hear about it on the news. They're realizing, oh man, people died and it's really close to us. And this section where it's starting to get out, the police, the reporters are coming, and in all this crazy aftermath, Michael Myers is sneaking through alleys, he's looking into windows, he's going into people's homes. It's a really cool, chaotic opening, running through all this mess. But you get to see Michael Myers just walk into the house of this old couple. They're watching Night of the Living Dead, because of course you watch Night of the Living Dead in horror movies. Then the news comes on and the old lady's like, what? There's a killer? And in the background, Michael Myers just picks up the butcher knife and walks away. And then we get to I believe it's the first kill of the movie. We get this girl on the phone talking to her friend. What? I didn't hear about the killings. Turns on the radio, there they are. And she goes, wow, wait, that wasn't too far from where I live. That's just down the street. There were murders just down the street. Puts down the phone, sees the door open, goes towards it, and Michael Myers comes in and stabs her. It's really great and emphasizes what this section is. But eventually, Michael Myers hears that Laurie Strode has been taken to the hospital, so that's where he goes next to find her. And the hospital is a really cool location. It's a hospital, a Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, HMH, and it's only got a skeleton crew, a few doctors and nurses and the people that drive the ambulance. And it's big, it's empty, and lots of dark shadows and places for Michael Myers to hide. They bring Laurie Strode in, and she's sedated. And that's one of the things with this movie is Laurie Strode just got hurt. Obviously they're going to sedate her. Obviously they're going to keep her in bed. It's what makes sense. It's what would happen in the real world. At the same time, though, we as an audience, it's like, there's Jamie Lee Curtis. There's the character I saw in the first one. We want to see more of her, and she is stuck in bed for the first hour or so of this movie. So that is something. Now, we get to meet some of our hospital characters, and some of them are interesting, like one of the ambulance guys knew Laurie from school and is kind of interested in her and wants to keep her safe. There's obviously the kind of creepy guy and the girl that he's pursuing, which will lead to something cool later. But overall, that's one thing with this movie, is it had kind of a hit-the-ground-running approach, which did make for a really cool opening, and we get right into the action. This movie's very fast-moving. But a lot of other slasher movies, you have the first part where the kids are goofing off, and even though it's not as entertaining as the cool over-the-top kills, we do get to know them a little better during these scenes. Granted, often slasher movie cannon fodder teens aren't super well developed. It's just here, because we hit the ground running so fast, we don't really get to know these doctors and nurses too terribly much, you know. We get to know the one that Laurie likes, so that's something. But like later on in the film, we're following around this blonde nurse. She's a good enough character, I guess, but we don't really get to know her beforehand. It's like she was a background character, and then all of a sudden towards the end it's like, yeah, blonde nurse is one of your main characters. It's like, oh, okay. But that being said, the hospital is a great setting. Like I talked about with the kills and stuff, with this movie being much more influenced from the other slashers that came after, you get some cool kills. A good hammer to the head. You get this lady who gets drained of blood. Very much a giallo kill right there. But you also get, and I won't spoil it, but the very famous hot tub kill. that is really, really cool. A good special effect and a good idea and concept. Really, really fun there. But anyway, while all this craziness is going on in the hospital, Sam Loomis has to try to find Michael Myers. And it's anyone's guess as to where he is. Well, they're hunting him down. They're trying to figure it out. And we do get a few, some nice callbacks to the first movie. The sheriff is hounding Dr. Loomis and then finds out that one of the kids who died in the first movie was his daughter. And it's really good to get this payoff scene because it really wasn't in the first movie. And he gets really sad and they send him away, obviously. And you get a new sheriff that's much more agreeable to Dr. Loomis and's like, okay, let's figure this out. So that's a good callback. Speaking of another good callback, is there's this fun scene with Laurie in the hospital, and her new friend goes, yeah, that guy who was chasing you was Michael Myers. And Laurie's like, that little boy from all those years ago? And it is kind of interesting to point out that Laurie didn't know who was chasing her in the first movie. So that's an interesting callback as well. But anyway, all that aside, the big thing with Dr. Loomis running around is he sees a guy with a Michael Myers mask, because in the Halloween universe, the Michael Myers mask is a really common mask. Kind of like how in Scream, the Ghostface mask is super common and you can buy it anywhere. So he sees this guy that's clearly not Michael Myers, and he starts chasing him. He's like, you, Michael, get back here! And the kid doesn't know what's going on, turns around, and gets hit by a car, and the car hits a van, and it blows up. This is one thing, if you watch the Halloween sequels, go ahead and count how many times there's a big car explosion. Like, it's a slasher movie, you wouldn't really think of this to be a thing, but the Halloween sequels love big car explosions. It's really weird. But anyway, with him dead, they don't know if Michael Myers is still out there or not. They're like, yeah, we got him, it's over. But is it? It's like the tiger shark in Jaws, you know? Also, fun note, the kid that gets blown up is later revealed to be Ben Tramer. Ben Tramer was the guy from school that Laurie had a crush on, and her friend was gonna set her up on a date. Well, I guess that date's not happening. He just got blown up. Maybe Laurie has a shot with this paramedic or something, I don't know. But anyway, so Donald Pleasence is searching. Laurie's at the hospital, and it is really cool. You kind of see the characters in this movie become who they would be in the later sequels. Donald Pleasence starts to become this crazy over-the-top guy, but he's always right, you know? It's like, look, we're going to do this. We have to stop Michael Myers. Donald Pleasence, you're crazy. No, he's right. He's right. He's always right, and no one listens to him. And you're also seeing Laurie, you know, like when they first put her, when they first used the drugs to sedate her, she's like, no, Michael's still out there. She doesn't want to go to sleep. Well, okay, she doesn't know it's Michael, but you get to see a little bit of her becoming the kind of prepper character that you would see her be in H2O and also the Blumhouse movies. So it is cool to see the character's direction here, even though this isn't canon within the Blumhouse universe, but whatever. Another thing, though, with this is, speaking of Laurie, you do get a reason why Michael Myers is going after Laurie. And I won't spoil it, but it is sort of the thing, and it's not canon in the Blumhouse movies anymore. It's become a big part of Halloween lore, but it's like, you know, a lot of people argue, including Quentin Tarantino, that you shouldn't know why Michael Myers is after you. He's the Shape. He's a complete stranger. Why he's going after you should be a complete and total mystery. At the same time, us fans are nerds. We want answers, even when it's not really good for us. So it's a cool, interesting bit of lore. It adds a lot to the story, but at the same time, maybe it should have been a mystery. I don't know. It's also really fun. The first hint at this plot point comes in a dream Laurie has. And you want to talk about a giallo scene. That dream is something very much out of a giallo scene. But anyway, overall, I found this movie was fun for the first hour. but it really did feel like there was something missing. And then you get to the final act, and again, no spoilers, but Laurie finally gets up in the final act, and I feel like that's really where the movie kicks it into high gear. When we finally get Michael Myers versus Laurie Strode, round 2, that's really, okay, it's a character I care about again, fighting Michael Myers. It's the epic rematch, and plus, when Donald Pleasence finally gets there too, it's all your 3 characters in one place, and they thought this was going to be the end of the Michael Myers story. They thought this would be the last one, so they really pushed for a good ending. And that epic, climactic, final boss fight scene, that's really cool. And I did really like the ending, but it's just the space leading up to the ending. The first hour, it was fun, but it wasn't as focused, and it wasn't as much of a sense of characters. You know, I didn't know the doctors and nurses as well. Laurie was bedridden, and we only got a little bit of Dr. Loomis. The weird thing with Halloween 2 is for the first hour or so, Michael Myers is kind of the main character. You get to see him planning his assault on this hospital, and it almost feels like the Hitman games or something, where Michael Myers is strategically offing people, hiding their bodies, and just working his way in to get to Laurie Strode. It is kind of a weird setup, but really, yeah, for the first hour of this movie, Michael Myers is the main character. He's who we're following through the initial craziness, the initial aftermath. He's who we're following into the hospital, and we're getting all these kills through. So, yeah, I wish Laurie was in the movie a little more. I wish they didn't sedate her as much, you know. And it's, you know, that's really the thing. But other than that, though, the hospital is a really cool setting. There's a lot more kills, a lot gory, and a lot more creative kills. So, yeah, this isn't the gold star grade A classic that the first Halloween was, but this is still a really fun ride. And it's a good slasher movie, and it might be the best of the sequels. Again, curious what you guys think as to what the best sequel is, but overall, I'd really recommend it, especially if you want a longer Halloween experience. Go ahead and double down and watch both movies back to back. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You're really helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more, you can click there and see more. It should be my Halloween playlist where you can see my review for part 1, as well as other cool Halloween movies like Houses October Built and All Hallows Eve and stuff. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Halloween playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.